Hello and welcome back to Recognised. I'm Marisha Stevenson, and this week I want to talk about money. Now, I know for some of you that sentence just made you slightly uncomfortable, but stay with me because that discomfort is exactly part of what this episode is about. Let me tell you about someone I worked with recently. I ran a commercial authority review for a client, and I want to describe her to you because I think some of you are going to recognize yourself in this. She is genuinely exceptional. Letters after her name, a published author, achievements that most people in her field will never get close to. She holds positions that matter. I mean, really matter. She's known, she's respected, and the people who work with her rate her highly. And yet, she's leaking £50,000 a year. Now that's my conservative estimate. Conservative. And here's the thing. She's not undercharging. Her fees are right. She's priced herself where someone with her credentials should be priced. And she has not flinched about it. She's doing so many of the right things. So where is the £50,000 going? It's going to a positioning problem. She's simply not attracting enough of the right business. The inquiries coming in are not consistently from the people who can meet her at her level. And when I look at her external presence, I mean, really looked at it the way a buyer would, the reason was obvious. She's positioned as community when her offer is corporate. Now, everything about how she shows up online says respected, community figure, warm, trusted, impactful. It's all true. It's all genuine. But a corporate decision maker with a serious budget researches her, and believe me, they research. They don't immediately see the person who belongs in their boardroom. They see someone lovely, and then they commission someone else. The gap is not in what she's built. The gap is between what she's built and what the market can see. And that gap has a number on it. In this case, £50,000 a year, conservatively. Now back to that discomfort I mentioned at the start. A lot of accomplished people find it slightly distasteful to talk about money. The work is the point, we tell ourselves. The impact is the point. The money will follow. And can I be honest with you? Sometimes it does not follow. Or it follows at a level that is nowhere near what the expertise deserve. And here is my genuinely held position on this. If your business can't attract the right work at the right level, it's not really operating as a business. Honestly, it's a hobby with invoices. And look, hobbies are wonderful. I have hobbies. But you did not build what you've built, qualify the way that you've qualified, and sacrifice what you have sacrificed simply for a hobby. So we're going to talk about money because the commercial authority gap is measured in money, and pretending otherwise is part of what keeps people stuck in the same rut. Now, I want to define some terms because the confusion here is real. And honestly, I've contributed to this myself, which is a story I told on LinkedIn actually earlier this week. So, personal branding. That is about recognition. Do people remember who you are? It's important work. Genuinely, some brilliant people I know do it. Brand management is about consistency and protection, making sure the brand shows up coherently everywhere and reputation is maintained. That is stewardship of a position you already have. PR is about what other people say about you. Press, media, third-party validation. Visibility coaching is about reach. Are you appearing in enough spaces and places? And leadership coaching is about behavior. How are you showing up in the room? All of these are real disciplines, but none of them is what I'm describing when I talk about commercial authority positioning, because that asks one question. Is the way you're positioned in the market producing the commercial outcomes your expertise deserve? Notice the direction of that question. Every other discipline starts with you and works outwards. This starts with the commercial outcome, the revenue, the fees, the caliber of the opportunity, and works backwards. Find what's in the positioning is failing to produce. And by the way, this applies to organizations just as much as individuals. When I do this work with a company, we are looking at whether organization's market position matches the quality of what it actually delivers, whether its people, its narrative, its external footprint are producing the pricing power and partnerships the capability warrants. That is not a rebrand. That is a change program. It has more in common with change management than it will ever have with a logo refresh. So now I do not want this to be just my opinion. Let's give you some numbers. And these come from the Elderman LinkedIn B2B Thought Leadership Impact Report, which surveyed around 3,500 senior decision makers across 7 countries. 73% of decision makers say that demonstrated expertise, thought leadership, is a more trustworthy basis for judging an organization than its own marketing. Nearly 3/4 of buyers trust what your authority demonstrates over anything you claim about yourself. And here's the one that really I want you to hear. 60% of senior buyers say they're willing to pay a premium, and that is pay more for the same capability, to work with people and organizations whose authority is demonstrated. 60% will pay more for the same thing when the positioning supports it. That is the commercial authority gap quantified. It's the difference between what buyers pay when your authority is legible and what they negotiate when it's not. And one more, because this one changes how you think about timing. At any moment, about 95% of your potential buyers are not in market. They're not looking, they're not shortlisting, which means the overwhelming majority of your future clients are forming their impression of you right now, quietly, before they have a budget. When they finally do come looking, they don't start from zero. They start from whatever impression has already been formed. In the reviews I run, this gap shows up in 3 places. See which of these you recognize, maybe all 3. First, pricing. Your fee's right, but buyers hesitate. They push back. They ask for discounts. They would never ask someone whose authority felt unquestionable. The price is correct. The positioning just is not making it feel inevitable yet. Second, pipeline. Inquiries are coming in, but not consistently from people who can afford you. Community level inquiries for a corporate level practice. Interest from everywhere except from where the budget lives. And third, and this is the expensive one, it's called being second. You're respected, you're shortlisted, you're considered, and someone else gets the call or the contract. Not because they're better, because their commercial authority is more legible. The buyer already knew what they were getting. Now, if any of those made you wince slightly, that's your gap. Last thing, and then I'll tell you what to do about it. The reason this matters more now than it ever has is that the way buyers research has fundamentally changed. Around 60% of searches now end with a single click. AI summaries answer the question before anyone reaches your website. The research that used to take a week, phone calls, all that, now takes 4 minutes. And it's increasingly done by AI tools, synthesizing whatever already exists about you publicly. If your footprint already reflects your authority, that works beautifully for you. The buyer is already convinced. But if your footprint undersells you, if it's telling the community story while you're selling the corporate offer, the judgment forms against you before you even knew the conversation was happening. And the forgiveness has gone out of the system. Your positioning arrives in the room before you do. And here's the timing piece. The rooms that matter, budgets, boards, shortlists, commissioning, decisions, crystallize their thinking in January. The impressions feeding those decisions are forming now. Commercial authority takes about 6 months of sequenced work to build properly. So July is not early. July is exactly on time. So if you've been listening to this and quietly recognizing yourself or recognizing your organization, here is your starting point. The Media Authority Scorecard. It takes 5 minutes and it will show you specifically where your commercial authority gap is. The link is in the show notes. And listen, take it before you talk yourself out of it. It could be 5 minutes that makes a huge difference to the rest of your year, because the gap does not close by itself. And every month it stays open